He waited on me hand and foot while I was hospitalized. His social media was filled with nothing but me. Then he turned around and bound himself as a game couple for 147 days with a girl named Zujo. He cheated on me yet stayed gentle, pushed me away with all his strength during the car crash. But just as I was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer, his white moonlight showed up to force her way in. I thought it was my fate to leave first. Never imagined I would be the one who survived just fine, while he was the one who went mad and fell apart. This dog blood life. Who would have guessed I faked my death? And he was the one truly ruined. When I got sick and was hospitalized, my boyfriend ran around taking care of everything. The aunt in the bed next to mine quietly asked, "When were we getting married?" I smiled and shook my head, said nothing. He never knew that I saw him bind himself as a game couple with a girl saved as Zujo. It was last night, when he forgot to lock his phone while getting me water. The day I was discharged, the biggest snowstorm of the year fell over the city. Song Wai took off his scarf and wrapped it around my neck, laughed and said I looked like a little pig. I opened my mouth, tears circling in my eyes. He squatted down, held my hand and looked up at me, asking what was wrong. I stared into his eyes full of stars. I just could not understand how this person could cheat on me and still be this gentle. Song Wai's social media was all about me. Because I had rhinitis, he quit smoking himself, and even made his friends stop smoking in front of me. Every time he came back from drinking, he would wait 10 minutes in the hallway before coming home, just because I could not stand the smell of alcohol on him. He remembered what I liked to eat, what I liked to use, even my period dates. He tracked more accurately than I did. Last month I went skiing in the Northeast with friends. He could not come because of work, and spent half an hour on the phone reminding me to stay safe. My friends joked, saying his eyes were full of me. That teacher Song was a hopeless romantic. And yet, this very man had bound himself as a couple in a game with a girl I did not know. 147 days. As of today, I want to eat crawfish. I want spicy crab. I want everything hot, numbing, and unbearably intense. After being coaxed back by Song Wai, he cooked porridge for me. I sat at the dining table, watching his busy figure in the kitchen, then suddenly asked, "Song Wai, can you take me to play the game you usually play?" He paused for a brief moment, then smiled and rubbed my head. "Of course, you little dummy. Since when do you like games?" I truly knew nothing about games. The interface alone made my head hurt. More importantly, it seemed like Song Wai was using a secondary account to play with me. When we lost a match, I threw my phone onto the couch. He did not really get mad, want to do something else. After eating and drinking, he pulled me into his arms on the couch. His breath brushed against my ear, his soft hair mixed with the fresh scent of body wash. But instinctively, I pushed him away. He raised his brow in surprise, yet still rubbed my stomach, telling me to sleep early. The next morning, I did not wake Song Wai, and went to work first. At noon, he sent me 2 messages. "Just got out of the hospital. Do not eat anything cold. I ordered you abalone millet porridge. Be good and finish it. Were you in a bad mood yesterday? After work, let us go watch a movie." I turned off my phone screen, my stomach hurting badly. Song Wai got off work on time today, and came to pick me up at my office. I followed him to the theater without a word, my hand held in his. The movie was boring. Halfway through, Song Wai's phone kept ringing. Mid-movie, he suddenly told me there was something urgent he had to deal with. I nodded, said okay. I would go home after the movie, but he probably did not expect that I would quietly follow him out of the theater. Luckily he was on foot. If he had driven, I would never have caught up. The destination was close, the hospital next door. Song Wai stood out even in a crowd. So when a girl rushed out of a department and threw her arms around him, I saw it clearly. Song Wai let her hold him, hands in his pockets. He neither responded nor pulled away. I got home later than Song Wai. He sat at the dining table, tilting his head to look at me. I did not plan to explain anything, but as I passed him, he grabbed my wrist. "Why have you been unhappy these past few days?" He kissed from behind my ear, down to my neck, but when I thought of how that girl had hugged him, I jolted, and pushed him away. "Go take a shower." I dodged and avoided. He did not suspect much. As he left, he casually rubbed my head. Song Wai was really not very guarded against me. See, his phone was not locked again. This time, I checked his WeChat. Yesterday he used WeChat to play the game with me, but that was clearly his secondary account. After fiddling with it, I found another hidden WeChat app on a different page, logged into another account. The account was almost empty, just a few people, including his buddies. Pinned at the top was a chat named Zujo. As I was looking, Sujo happened to send a message. My stomach hurts so much. I feel awful. When will you break up with that woman? I scrolled up. They had talked so much, that it felt like they talked more in one day than Song Wai and I talked in a whole month. A month ago, when I went skiing in the Northeast, and Song Wai could not come because of work, he reminded me for half an hour to stay safe. That day was Zhou Zhao's birthday. They went to a dog cafe we had been to together. Someone took a photo of them. The girl smiled sweetly holding a puppy, Song Wai's gentle gaze resting on her. My hands and feet turned ice cold. I kept reading. Song Wai sent her so many messages. He acted cute with her, complaining that work was exhausting. He played games with her, laughing at her for being a total noob. Even when a new plant was placed in his office, he had to take a photo and share it with her. The overtime he told me about was almost always dates with that girl. As I kept reading, I slowly clutched my stomach and squatted down. The surgery had been for gastritis, and now it seemed to be flaring up again. Worse still, I was so focused, I did not even notice the water had been shut off. The bathroom door opened behind me. What is wrong? Does your stomach hurt again? Do you want to go to the hospital? The man lifted me from behind, the scent of body wash filling my nose. His warm palm pressed against my abdomen, and for a brief moment, the pain seemed to ease. I lowered my eyes, staring at his phone, which had just barely been flipped face down on the table. The last message I saw was Song Wai saying to that girl, I lost feelings for her a long time ago. The one I like is you. My mom has always loved feeding me all kinds of food, so I developed a habit. When I feel bad, I binge eat, especially during high school. When the pressure was heavy, I gained over 30 pounds. Teenage girls care a lot about their appearance. I was no exception, but when I got anxious, I ate even more. Back then, the friendships among the girls in my class had this strange yet harmonious facade. Because of my body, I was more or less excluded. Oversized uniforms, falling behind in PE, skirts I did not dare wear. No one wanted to be friends with me, except Song Wai. We met in freshman year of high school, at the new student representative speech. He was the male representative, I was the female one, but compared to my one brief moment of spotlight, he was dazzling like the sun. Good grades, handsome, popular, girls who liked him were countless. Yet somehow, we ended up in the same cram school, with similar scores, often compared by teachers. Over time, we became familiar. I knew how some boys in our class talked about me behind my back, calling me fat, saying no one would ever marry me, then bursting into snickering laughter. They said all kinds of awful things, but Song Wai never once looked at me with that kind of disgusting gaze. When did I start liking Song Wai? Probably one summer evening at cram school, when he sat beside me, a backpack slung over one shoulder, heat lingering in the air, his eyes curved as he smiled, so clean and bright. I just checked the scores. You beat me by 1 point again. So impressive. Mind lending me your brain? Song Wai never knew that when we were filling out college applications, I secretly looked at his form, calculated over and over, and made countless wishes. In the end, we got into the same university. At the graduation party, a girl confessed to him. She came from a wealthy family, and was beautiful. I sat in the crowd, quietly listening to everyone tease. I truly thought he would be with her, but he was not. He politely turned her down. Near the end of the party, I sat alone in the innermost corner of the room. Living alone for so long, I was not good at socializing, and was used to hiding myself, but he always managed to find me. That night, Song Wai sat beside me, chin propped on his hand, eyes half narrowed. I knew he was looking at me, but I did not dare meet his gaze. After a long while, his light itchy voice sounded beside me. I like you. Do you want to give it a try with me? After we got together, I asked him why he would like someone as fat as me. He laughed beside me, then rolled over and hugged me. But to me, you are cute no matter what. Song Wai was a strange person. His sense of morality was thin, his mind full of unusual ideas. So when he cheated, I did not find it surprising. After being with him, I lost weight, slowly learned how to dress, built my social skills through college clubs. I also realized I was actually quite popular. Some younger guys who did not know my situation confessed to me. I rejected them. I always believed that loyalty was the first rule of a relationship, but clearly, Song Wai did not think so. Late at night, while eating the last slice of cake from the fridge, I bit down on the fork. Sure enough, I could not change my binge eating habit, but I seemed to have not gained weight in a long time. The number on the scale was even dropping. I did not think much of it, just assumed it was a side effect of the surgery. The messages I saw that night were still vivid in my mind. I let out a short laugh. Tonight, Song Wai still did not come home. I called his phone. He picked up almost instantly. Where are you? I asked. Wind roaring on his end. Just got off work. Heading home now. Miss me. His voice was still slightly hoarse. If I had not confirmed with his colleagues beforehand that there was no overtime tonight, I might have believed his lies. So he had upset Zuzhou last night, and now even through the night, he had to lie about overtime to go comfort her. Song Wai, I will come find you. Maybe my tone was off. He fell silent for a long moment, then laughed softly. He gave me the location, and reminded me at the end, it is cold outside. Wear more clothes. Be careful. The university where Song Wai taught was quite close to our home. I could walk there. The streets were empty at night. Only near the campus was there some life. Song Wai stood waiting for me at the entrance of the night market, hands in his trench coat pockets. He had always stood out. Thinking about it now, he was never the steady type. I rehearsed what I wanted to say and walked toward him, but he suddenly pulled me into his arms, leaning down slightly, rubbing my head. Why is your brow so tightly furrowed? Are you really that unhappy? Song Wai, do you even know why I am unhappy? Dappled light danced across his features. Hazy smoke intertwined. Everything in my mind fell apart in an instant. Is life a continuous film where no one knows when an accident will happen or how it will happen? When sparks flew, Song Wai shouted my name. That day, I clearly remember. I went to find him, to break up with him. That day, I clearly remember. He lied about working late, just to comfort the girl named Zuzhou. Song Wai said he had long lost feelings for me. When that out-of-control delivery truck came straight toward us, the one who instinctively pushed me away was still him. The spreading pool of blood stabbed into my eyes. I nearly went crazy, crawling over to check his injuries. He smiled, raised his hand, and rubbed my head. As long as you are okay. Song Wai, tell me, is it really that hard to only love one person? Song Wai's injuries were far more serious than I imagined. Of course, with that much blood, there was no way he would wake up unscathed at dawn. He was moved into the ICU and slept for 2 or 3 days. During that time, I finally unlocked his phone. Fingerprint unlock really is a convenient feature. I could not stop myself from reading those chat logs over and over. Every word he said to that girl, all the tenderness he gave her, in the dead of night, they were like knives, carving into my heart. While Song Wai lay unconscious, that girl sent him countless messages. There is a flower shop downstairs. It is really pretty. Teacher Song, do you have class this afternoon? Want to watch a movie together after work? Hey, why are you not replying? Are you there? Song Wai, what happened? I went to your school, but did not see you. Did something happen to you? Song Wai, you would not ignore my messages. Song Wai, I miss you so much. At night, I lay on the hospital cot, scrolling through those chats again and again. The girl kept sending messages, over and over, to this phone. As I watched, I rushed to the bathroom and vomited violently. Song Wai, you really are something. That girl loves you to death as well. The nurse who did rounds every day said my complexion looked terrible, and suggested that since I was already in the hospital, I should get a full body checkup done as well. When I came downstairs with my test results in hand, I saw a girl in a white dress standing outside Song Wai's hospital room. It was strange. Sometimes a person's sixth sense is terrifyingly accurate. I called her name tentatively. The girl spun around at once. Her eyes were like a pool of clear spring water. Suzhou. There weren't many places near the hospital meant for private conversations, but the two of us still found a ramen shop. It was 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Hardly any customers. The girl rested her chin in her hand, absent-mindedly poking at the noodles in front of her. You know I'm Song Wai's girlfriend, right? I asked her. She only shrugged. Yeah, I know, but sister, in love, there's no such thing as who came first. Her hair fell over her pale shoulders. She lifted a smile at me, not a friendly one. Besides, you're not married. The provocation was obvious. Knowingly being the third wheel, you two really are a perfect match. I lowered my gaze. My stomach burned like it was on fire. The girl laughed. She was calm. So calm it was obvious she held all the cards. So why don't you just give Song Wai to me? Or are you going to lose it? A hysterical woman is ugly. Don't do something so undignified. Victory glittered in her eyes. She probably thought she was finally about to win. Maybe she was right. The contents of the test report I just received flashed through my mind. I stood up, lowered my eyes, and said softly, then wait until Song Wai wakes up, and tell him yourself. I'm not his girlfriend anymore. You are. Zhou Guo probably hadn't expected me to agree so easily. Zhou Zhao's real name was Zhou Guo, and by coincidence, when we returned, the doctor told me Song Wai had woken up. The girl almost rushed forward, throwing herself beside his hospital bed. And Song Wai, someone so smart. The moment he saw Zhou Guo and me appear together, he must have understood everything. Separated by the girl, we looked at each other in silence. When he looked at people, there was always an inexplicable tenderness in his eyes. Even now, it was as if I were still the only one there. Thin light slipped into the cracks of the floor. I took a quiet breath, and finished saying the words I hadn't been able to say that day. Song Wai, let's break up. There was a long, very long silence. As expected, there was no surprise on his face. Instead, he suddenly smiled. I should have wiped my phone clean before the accident. That was just the kind of person Song Wai was. If this had been before, I think I would have gone hysterical. I would have rushed over and demanded to know why. I would have smashed everything I could grab. I would have pulled Zhou Guo by the hair and fought her. But now, after the words were spoken, I simply turned around in silence. Behind me, he asked calmly, after breaking up, can we still be friends? I shook my head, and pushed open the hospital room door. Song Wai didn't know that I had no future left. On the fourth day after Song Wai was hospitalized, 6 hours before he woke up, 20 minutes before I met Zhou Guo, I received my test results. I had thought my naturally thin build was the reason. I could eat several cakes late at night and not gain weight. I had thought the frequent stomach pain was just a side effect of surgery. The nurse who said my complexion looked bad. The violent vomiting in the middle of the night. No symptoms in the early stages. Clear abdominal pain only in the mid to late stages. I never could have imagined that beneath the lining of my stomach, a tumor had grown. In the consultation room, with the curtain only half drawn, my hands and feet suddenly went numb with cold. No, doctor, are you sure it's not? The doctor frowned, paused, then cut me off. Did you come alone? I'm not trying to scare you. I'll be direct. It was found too late. Given your condition, if you don't take this seriously, you may only have a few months left. You need to be hospitalized immediately. Contact your family, and decide as soon as possible whether it'll be surgery or chemo and radiation. Seeing me stand there stunned for too long, the doctor sighed, and patted my shoulder. You don't have to be overly anxious. Our hospital specializes in this. We've had many successful cases. The entire morning, I sat on a bench in the hospital corridor. Why wasn't anything wrong discovered during my last surgery? Why now? Why me? Hadn't I already suffered enough? Did heaven really have to take away my right to live too? The doctor asked if I had any family. In fact, my mom passed away a year after I graduated college. As for my relatives, they'd torn each other apart fighting over my grandfather's assets. Since graduating, I'd always been with Song Wai. Song Wai was right. People's passion does get used up. That's why he stopped liking me. I'd been with him too long. Maybe I no longer even knew what love was, or whether I still loved him. In the busy hospital hallway, people rushed past. But for me, was even the time I existed here already a luxury? I hadn't thought about my mom in a long time, but in that moment, her face seemed to appear right in front of me. Take me with you. Take me away, please. I suddenly broke down crying in the hospital corridor. An older woman nearby couldn't bear it. She handed me a tissue, held my shoulder, and comforted me softly. Girl, it's okay. Don't cry. My son is 11. After an argument with me, he swallowed several sheets of thumbtacks trying to kill himself. Sigh. Now I regret it. There are so many things I wish I hadn't acted on impulse back then. You see, everyone suffers. That's why you have to cherish the people in front of you. She probably thought I was just a patient's family member. I clenched the report in my hand. Who do I have left now? I suddenly remembered one day, when Song Wai and I talked about who would die first. I said I wanted to go before him. He said okay, lightly tapped my forehead. I'm yours. Before you die, I'll always stand by your side. Dazed, I walked down the hospital stairs, toward his room. How ridiculous. Even then, even though he had already cheated, my first instinct was still to see if he had woken up, to ask him which treatment plan I should choose. But that day, standing at the turn of the staircase, watching the girl in the white dress outside his room, I knew clearly, Song Wai wasn't mine anymore. He had abandoned me long ago. When the last leaf of autumn fell, Song Wai broke up with Zhou Guo. To him, it seemed like something trivial, but Zhou Guo became hysterical. He lowered his eyes, blocked the person who kept messaging him. Cars honked along the street. He looked up at the bustling night market, and suddenly remembered, 2 years ago, how he had pulled the girl beside him away from an oncoming car. Thinking about it, that girl had left him 2 years ago now. Song Wai had never doubted that he loved her. In fact, when he loved her, his feelings had never been so intense. So much so, that after they separated, the after effects were overwhelming. He once grew tired of her, yet the one he could never forget was still her. So he broke up with Jo Guo. He knew it would be hard, very hard, but he still wanted to try to win her back. How had she been these past years? Did her stomach still hurt? Did she still skip breakfast? Still walk barefoot on cold floors? He couldn't help thinking of her. Every lonely night, even when he was with Jo Guo, she filled his mind. He had always followed his instincts. If he still loved her, he wanted her back. The first thing he thought of was adding her on WeChat using her phone number, but she never accepted. Her profile picture and name had changed too. When they broke up, she had blocked everything about him, left decisively, and he clearly remembered what he had said to her that day. He asked, "Could we still be friends?" She shook her head. So the road to getting her back might be difficult, but he didn't believe he was destined to fail. Because he knew she was heartbreakingly soft-hearted. To be honest, maybe because she came from a single-parent family, she was especially easy to control. Be gentle with her, and she'd think you were irreplaceable. Smile at her, and she'd think you were a good person. When WeChat got no response, he tried other ways to find her. She seemed to have left the city. Strangely, even with his wide connections, he never heard any news about her again. He finally managed to add her former best friend, only to be viciously cursed out and blocked again. Spend the rest of your life drowning in regret, you scumbag. He raised an eyebrow and thought, impossible. As long as he could see her again, he'd have a way to win her back. He knew her too well, knew what she liked, knew how to make her happy. Some things had already seeped into his bones. That was why he couldn't let go even after so long. He didn't believe she could forget him completely. It was at a Saturday drinking party. Former high school classmates had come to his university for research. After several rounds of drinks, they inevitably talked about the past. His alcohol tolerance wasn't great, so he propped his head up, bored, listening to them brag. But when he heard her name, he suddenly looked up. "Hey, do you remember that old classmate? What a pity, so young and..." "Yeah, I even went to her funeral before the new year. Stomach cancer, right? So pitiful. I heard her parents were gone too. She left all alone. So young. Stomach cancer. Funeral." These words sounded so unfamiliar, as if he'd never heard them in his life. He shot to his feet. All eyes turned to him. His head buzzed. It had to be the alcohol. He must have heard wrong. Damn it. Same name. Same surname. She wasn't in this world anymore. How could that be? She had already died. Died a year ago. He would never see her again. He could never find her again. What was death? Did it mean they would never meet again in this lifetime? He went mad searching for anything related to her, trying to prove she had existed, trying to prove they were lying, trying to prove it was all fake, trying to prove it was a cruel joke. But there was nothing. He found an address and a gravestone. The wind whispered, mountains high, rivers long. The old friend was gone. When he turned back to chase after her, caught completely off guard, he hadn't even had the chance to say sorry. Memories crashed over him like a tidal wave. At that moment, even the smallest emotion was amplified beyond control. He knelt before her grave, from sunrise to sunset, but she was gone, reduced to ashes. He would never receive forgiveness, because there was no one left to hear him. He didn't even have the right to know she had already left. Hadn't he been abandoned by her too? He locked himself inside his apartment, downing bottle after bottle of beer. Only when alcohol numbed his brain could he seem to see her. The girl crouched in front of him, chin propped in her hand, ruffling his hair. "You're such a strange person. You were the one who changed first. So why are you crying like this now?" Later, he fell into ruin, only by mixing with the wrong crowd. Did he feel a moment of redemption? He was dragged out to drink every day, even though his tolerance was poor. One day, he threw up again, rushed into the bathroom, and stared at himself in the mirror. He looked for a long time, then smashed the mirror with a punch. Blood streamed down his fist. His hand went numb from the impact. The person in the mirror shattered into thousands of pieces. Trembling, he spoke. Why, Song why couldn't he just love one person properly? Why did he have to throw her away? Why did he believe he could always get her back whenever he wanted? Only later did he realize, it wasn't that he had stopped loving her, it was that some kinds of love sink into your bones. So abandoning her felt easy, but losing her left him gasping for air. He suddenly picked up the shards of broken glass on the floor, then faced the mirror, and carved a huge X across his own face. Blood immediately streamed down his cheeks. Even his pack of reckless friends were frightened by the sight. They rushed him to the hospital. Someone sat beside him and bumped his shoulder. Hey, feeling miserable? Go find some fun. After that he started drifting through bars everywhere. With that face of his, even scarred and scabbed over, it still drew swarms of women like butterflies. A woman once brushed his cheek and said, "I like the way you look like you've lived through stories." Later on, women and alcohol became the main theme of his life. Some things he tried desperately to forget, but no matter how hard he tried he couldn't. So he told himself that as long as he stayed busy, he wouldn't have to think. And so the rumors spread in their circle, that every woman he slept with looked strangely similar. Yes, some had similar personalities, some had similar faces. That frantic longing was numbed this way, until one day it burst through like a broken dam. Everyone looked like her, yet none of them were her. The moment he saw a familiar face, a wave of nausea hit him. He rushed into the bathroom, vomiting until the world spun. When Zhou Guo found Song Wai had locked himself at home drinking. He opened the door, reeking of alcohol. His gaze swept over her from head to toe. Then he clicked his tongue and shut the door. She stopped it with her hand. "If I hadn't come looking for you, how long were you planning to keep ruining yourself like this?" Zhou Guo asked with her arms crossed. But she had to admit, a man like him, even in decay, radiated a keep your distance kind of aura. Song Wai relaxed his brow and gave a cold laugh. "Are you done yet?" "Done with what?" "Song Wai, you were with me for 2 years. How many years were you with that woman? You became like this for her. So what am I supposed to be?" He stared at her in silence, unusually calm. After a long pause his voice carried a trace of irritation. "Come in." Zhou Guo immediately recognized the place. It was where he used to live with that woman. Nothing had changed, except the table was littered with overturned beer cans. "Zhou Guo, do you know why I added you that day while gaming?" Song Wai's voice was low, like a drifting ghost. She probably doesn't even remember anymore. "The nickname of the first game account I registered for her. It was also Zuzhou. That day we had a fight. When I called you Zuzhou, it felt like calling her. At that time my passion for her had cooled. And to me, you were like a brand new version of her. That's why I thought you were more interesting than she was." Zhou Guo's eyes widened, listening as he dissected their relationship with terrifying calm. She couldn't hold back. She grabbed a can beside her and hurled it at him. "You're really a fucking animal." Zhou Guo suddenly remembered the first time she met that woman, how she had provoked her and said, "A woman losing control is pathetic." And now, she wished she'd gone completely insane. Had she been that woman's substitute for 3 whole years? Who exactly was Song Wai seeing through her? A disgusting ex? Or something else? So what did that make her? The answer was already obvious. She had thought she'd won by miles over that girl, but in the end, who was the one laughing last? A dead woman. Seeing the woman in front of him on the verge of losing control, Song Wai coughed once and stood up to see her out. He pushed her toward the door, and her curses and sobs were cut off outside. He looked into the mirror, at his own eyes. Today was an important day. He didn't want anyone disturbing him. Christmas Eve. The streets were already overflowing with warmth and cheer. It was probably the first time in half a month that Song Wai had gone out. He showered, shaved, and dressed neatly before heading outside. December 24th, the day he had confessed to her. Neon lights flooded the night. In a city that never slept, everyone seemed to walk in pairs. His hands were in his pockets as he walked down the street, when someone suddenly bumped into him. "Hey mister, take this bouquet. If you have someone you like, be brave and confess." A little boy shoved a huge bouquet into his arms. It must have been a mall promotion, picking random passers-by to encourage confessions. Holding the flowers, Song Wai suddenly didn't know what to do. If only she were here. And then, an endless tide of guilt swept over him. "Excuse me, would you be willing to sell me those flowers?" A male voice interrupted his thoughts. It was a young man with a bright smile, slightly curly hair, the kind that made people like him easily. "I made my girlfriend mad. Wanted to buy flowers to make it up to her. But you know, on a day like this, where can you even buy them?" They must have been deeply in love. Song Wai handed the flowers over in a daze. He didn't want the money, but the boy had already stuffed a red bill into his pocket. After thanking him, the boy left, and Song Wai stood there motionless. He had bought flowers for her too. When they were setting up their new home, he had once filled the entire fridge with roses. Back then, he really did love her so much that he couldn't bear to hurt her in the slightest. Song Wai felt like he was being driven mad by memories. If only he hadn't done those things. If only he hadn't betrayed her. If he had stayed by her side, would they have spent her last Christmas together? He thought he might have developed a drinking problem. He found another bar, and kept drinking, and drinking. Someone whose tolerance never improved, always ended up throwing up when they drank too much. But when he drank too much, it felt like he could see her, just like now. A girl who looked so much like her walked past him. He went crazy pushing through the crowd to reach her, but when he rushed into the street, the sea of people swallowed her whole, gone without a trace. Too drunk, hallucinating again, only this time, he seemed to have picked the wrong people to mess with. Hey, you blind or what? A burly man grabbed him by the collar. He had learned kickboxing once, but he'd been drinking for too long. He was almost slammed against the wall, then dragged into an alley by a group of people. Outside was too loud, so loud that the violence inside went unheard. Got any money? Hand it over. They searched his pockets, but only found a ring. And the moment he saw that ring, Song Wai's eyes flew open. He tried to snatch it back, but was lifted up like a toy. That ring. He had bought it with her. It was the only thing he could still find that was connected to her. He couldn't reach it, struggled, and cursed under his breath. More people swarmed in and started beating him. Punches, kicks. They were just drunk, taking their madness out on someone. Song Wai curled forward, finally found the ring again, realizing it was made of iron and worthless. They tossed it casually onto the ground. He shoved the ring into his chest, as if holding a priceless treasure. Fuck, is he dead? Forget it, let's go. No one knew how long passed. The beating finally stopped. Every organ in his body hurt. He truly felt like he was about to die, but he laughed. Winter really was cold. If he stayed lying there, would he never open his eyes again? No one cared what happened in some alley. A parade rolled by, laughter and noise filling the streets. Song Wai didn't know that if he opened his eyes and looked toward the next block, a boy was holding the flowers he'd bought from him, walking toward a girl with the eyes and brows he'd missed so desperately. Sis, guess where I bought these flowers? Song Wai, I guess you could call him your ex. Oh, so he came too. He still seems to love you, but he probably thinks you're dead. Looks like he's doing pretty badly. The girl fiddled with the petals in her arms, and shrugged indifferently. At first my best friend just wanted to mess with him. Then my whole group of friends joined in, and lied to him together. I live overseas now, and they even made me a tombstone, to prove I was dead. So childish. I'm not dead. I'm very much alive. The doctor said it wasn't easy for me to survive. I was even afraid they'd curse me to death. Whatever. What Song Wai thinks has nothing to do with me. People have to move forward. Honestly, after surviving that illness, he just doesn't matter to me that much anymore. The girl stretched lazily, lifting the bouquet high. Thanks. The flowers are really beautiful. The clock struck midnight. Snow drifted down from the night sky. Starlight dazzling. Neon blazing. The crisp chime rang again, cutting cleanly into the next year.